Cessna, you little psychopath. Morning. I got the dog. We're going to try this and see if she can't not knock this down. Get out. No. You're going to have to be calm. Oh, crap. Here's my dogs. Watch out, dog. Oh, a big old carp. No, ma'am. Cessna, come on. Get back. Get in your seat. Good girl. One crazy dog. Ugh. Hey, you realize that damn, it's chilly this morning. I mean, chilly. I didn't even look at the temperature before I left the house. Hell, I bet it's 48 degrees. Of course, the breeze don't help. No, ma'am, you're gonna fall in. I'm gonna laugh. And you're gonna be all wet. Then you're gonna be all cold. Why don't you be calm? Let's see if we can catch a fish. You're gonna start bouncing around in here. Monday morning. No, ma'am. Cessna. Cub. Dang it. Why? Why, Cessna? Why? Why, Cessna? Why? Morning. We're on Lake Alexander. We're going fishing with my dog. The dog's not fishing this morning. She doesn't have thumbs. I guess she's fishing. She just isn't going to actually be casting. She's out here while we're in the process of fishing. And let's see. It's chilly. Hey, morning, BRX. Hope you're having a good day. Like and subscribe, man. We're fishing for it. You see, we have a beautiful sunrise. We are fishing for. Hey, Noah, how are you doing this morning? Y'all like and subscribe. We're going fishing for smallmouth on Lake Alexander. Welcome, everybody. Monday morning. I have my dog with me. We're going to be fishing for smallmouth on Lake Alexander in Soda Springs, Idaho. And it's chilly. Like, I had no idea it was this chilly. But I'm fishing for smallmouth bass this morning. Good, Noah. I'm glad you're doing good, man. BRX are fishing for smallmouth bass. I'm about to get in the weeds, so I'm going to have to get up there and get moving. I'm glad everybody's doing all right this morning. Stick around. What's for breakfast, Ronald? Ronald, good morning, man. I actually had a monster and some pack of crackers. That's my breakfast every morning, is a monster and a pack of crackers. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing, I'm going to start with Topwater. This water's a little muddy. I'm using a prop bait like so. I'm using 30-pound braid on a 10.5-to-1 ratio bait caster. This thing hauls ass, so I can get it back in. These are Cast King Royal Select 7-foot medium heavy rods with a fast tip. Use crawfish lure. I caught 8-pound smallmouth on it. Yeah, they really tear up the crawdads in here. Every time we pull a fish in, it spits up crawdads. I don't fish plastics much anymore. I do, but not. I'd rather just throw top water. I don't know how well we're going to do this morning with it because, again, it's a little breezy and it's chilly. When I get turned around here, you'll see the fog coming off the lake because when you stick your hand in the water, it feels like a sauna compared to the air temperature. But anyway, my sister will probably get on in a few minutes, or JW or somebody, so I can have somebody moderate for me if y'all don't mind, because I can't see the screen from here. Anyway, we're going to go fish off a point here. It's about 40 foot deep right in front of me, about 100 yards up there. And what I'm going to be casting to is about a foot of water. There's a bunch of rocks there. They're dumping water to because they're irrigating the farmland, so they're letting water out of here because this is a reservoir that's on the Bear River. So we're actually fishing the Bear River, but they're dumping water. So we're probably going to have a little bit of a current, and the water is really high. Like they've got it up. So it's going to make a little bit of difference. I like it when the water's down. But again, it's a little bit stained. We might stay out here for a minute and then head back in where the water's going to be a little clearer. As you can see, I have Cessna with me. I don't know how well this is going to work with Cessna because I got the camera on a tripod. And I hope she doesn't knock it in the water because she gets excited, especially when we start catching fish. So anyway, this is a prop bait that's kind of like a tiny torpedo that I've been fishing on my ultralight rod with. You can't buy these baits anymore. This is a live pointer, ghost minnow pattern. It's more about the prop and the feather hanging down on that feathered treble than it is the actual bait, especially when the water's stained like this. It'd be real, but because the water's stained and it's a little chilly, I'm gonna have to slow my retrieve down and give these fish time to find this thing, because the prop bait makes a bunch of racket and it mimics an injured bait fish. But when the water's clear, I can fish it a lot faster. And the reason I'm using a 10.5 to 1 reel is I usually use it on my Topwater because I can reel it in real fast to throw back out again. I'm going to turn you guys a little bit so you can see what the heck's going on. Yeah, that might be a little better. So anyway, and again, the water's kind of muddy, and it has been this year. We don't understand why. It's just been muddy. Because it's not like they dump water in here, but it usually doesn't stay this bad. There's a lot of carp in here. Like in front of me here, there's probably 250 carp. Get in here. You're going to fall your ass in the water. I'm telling you. She loves the water. She's a duck hunting fool. But yeah, there's a big pot of carp in front of me here. There's more over here. If I throw in the middle of them, you might be able to see a big splash. Yeah, we don't know. We think that the muddiest is because, hey, there's a lot more wakeboarders and stuff out here this year and water skiers, and they keep this lake stirred up. And because it doesn't have a lot of current going through it, it will actually take it a little while to clear up when it does get muddy. About fell in the damn water there, Cessna. So yeah, it might not be a good thing to fish out here. I might have to go back up in the river section of this because that always clears up a little faster. Yeah, there's a mess of carp out here. But the carp are breeding, so they get on these rocks and lay their eggs there. I thought, and I guess in most lakes and rivers, somebody who fishes for carp. Yeah, you about fell in, didn't you? Told you. She's wanting to go after the fish. Because not only are small monsterlander pointers awesome upland bird dogs, hence the name, because they'll point and flush. They're a natural pointer, but she's a duck hunting dog too. She loves duck hunting. So she gets in the boat. She thinks we're going to go get birds. And so every bird that flies by, she's like, well, you don't have a shotgun, but what can you do to fish this thing? Anyhow, it's a pretty morning. It's just cold. I mean, I don't know if y'all can see the fog on the lake, but the lake water temperature is about 72 degrees. And the air temperature, I didn't check it like I said, but it's got to be upper 40s, low 50s. It's chilly out here this morning. I'd have worn jeans had I known because it is chilly. Yeah, these fish in here, we got to catch a fish. I don't think it's going to happen on Topwater right here yet. That bite will turn on in a little while. And I brought my ultralight too. So let's see. Sorry, guys, I can't. Yeah, you're right, BRX. Try apple juice with a donut. Ronald, you're right, because my wife has been on my ass about quitting drinking them monsters. And I was drinking water with that Mio stuff in it for a little while. But man, that's the only caffeine I get in my life is from my one Monster in the morning. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to this live pointer I use a lot. I really like these live pointers. Great lure. And we catch a lot of fish. Next weekend, we'll be down on the Snake River near Firth in Idaho Falls, setting up deer camp. So we'll be doing a lot of trout fishing, but there's also big smallmouth in the river, in the Snake River system. I guess they were introduced a long time ago, and they've kind of taken over. And I haven't caught an 8-pound smallmouth yet. I've caught a 7-pounder, so I'm trying to get that 8-pound mark. And I think they're in here. I know there's some good fish in here. I've seen them when the water's clear, but I honestly think when I catch that 8-pounder, it's going to be on the Snake River, because that's where I caught that 7-pounder last year. And Cole Younger, he's rodeoing a lot right now, but he was out here with his granddad, I guess day before yesterday, and he lost what was a 7-pounder, they said, in here, which I believe it. They know what they're talking about when they say it was a pretty big fish. But anyway, I think it's going to happen on the Snake. Yeah, it's chilly, chilly, chilly. It's chilly and it's muddy. I have like 2-foot visibility here. And they say, the scientists say that if you could see 2 foot through the water, a fish could see 4. Plus they have lateral lines. They can find this thing. You just got to slow it down. And you're just going to have to be calm. We got people that we're fishing with this morning, and they don't want to hear you whine. They don't. But anyway, topwater bite, I'd rather miss. I mean, BMX, you're right, man. I'd rather, or BRX, I'd rather miss 10 fish on topwater and catch 1 than catch 10 on this thing. Just because I love watching them hit that topwater. And that's the one thing I miss the most about not living in Florida anymore, is a topwater bite for bass, largemouth, and also for sea trout. Used to catch a lot of big sea trout on topwater with my ultralight, throwing that 4-pound test with that ultralight rod with a mirror lure, a floating mirror lure. And you got to be patient when you hook one, because it'll take you a while to get it in. But it's just awesome to watch them come up and hit that thing. But again, it's a little breezy this morning. It's not bad. I mean, we got a breeze blowing across the water, which makes it a hell of a lot chillier. Got a beautiful sunrise. But we did go fishing this weekend. We kind of stay off the water on the holidays because people are crazy. And I've told this story before, but my first wife, Tammy, my son's mom, who I'm still very good friends with, we were out on Memorial Day back when we were in college, and some kids were showing off because they had daddy's boat. My wife-to-be was in the water with her hand wrapped up in a ski rope because we were pulling her in, and those kids came by, almost ran her over, but they caught that ski rope in their prop, and it tore most of her right fingers off. And it took, we used to slalom ski, dual slalom ski, so we had built a ski post in his boat that was made out of pipe, because with 2 people cutting on, deep cuts on slalom skis, a regular ski pole wouldn't stand a boat. So we put a pipe, 2.5-inch pipe, bolted to the floor, really good ski post. And when they went by and caught that rope, it ripped that ski post out of the boat. It was lucky that nobody got hurt from that post taking off. But my wife-to-be ended up at the time, ended up losing her pinky finger, most of her thumb on her right hand, and messed up her ring finger where she lost some of it. And then, watch out, Cessna. And so ever since then, I stay off I just don't go out on holidays. 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, I might be out on the river hunting or something, and I'll fish out there, but I just try and stay out of the boat because people are crazy, man. And there's usually, of course, alcohol involved, which I drink, but I don't drink and drive. I was a cop, so I was a DUI officer, and I'm a stickler about don't drink and drive, people. I could tell you stories. But we're fishing. We're having fun today. We're not going to be talking about that kind of stuff. Anyway, God bless everybody. Thanks for joining me. Let's pray for those people in Texas. A friend of mine got back from down there yesterday, and he said, yeah, it was pretty bad. We had some flash flooding in Soda here last week from a thunderstorm that came through, and my vet, his office got quite a bit of water in it. They had to, because he said like in 25 minutes, it just up the flash flooded across his property. Yeah, I think we're going to have to run back into the cut because this is just not happening. Usually by now I've caught a fish or two. But again, we'll do one more cast and then we'll get out of here. It's just been muddy and the water's up. Like where I'm sitting right now, I can usually see the rocks right there. And it's only about 1.5 feet deep even with this water being up. But you can't see the rocks because it's just, the water's just muddy. So I'm going to turn this around and we're going to take a quick boat ride. It's only like a 2-minute run over there. And see if I could do it without knocking you all over. But we got beautiful scenery. I mean, you can see in front of me, we got mountains and cliffs and people coming down with their side by side. I don't know what the hell they think they're going to do with that here because you can't ride it around here. Maybe they're just going fishing. So let's crank up the big motor and go run over to my spot where I know it's going to be clear. And that's where Cole, it doesn't matter. There's fish all over this lake, but Cole, younger the other day, that's where he lost that 7-pounder, was right where we're going. So, anyhow, let me see if I can move you guys so I can crank this big motor up. You're going to be crooked for a minute. So let's see. ZC edits. You're pretty bad. It's hard to see these things. Thanks for joining me this morning, everybody. Well, ZZ, you know what? The cool thing about that is if I'm pretty bad, like you don't want to watch, you could just change the channel. Because I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I love you guys, and anybody wants to hang out with me, you might learn something. But if you don't like what you're watching, you just flip to it. It's America. We're not forced to watch anything. That's why I love our country. Come on, Seth, get in your spot. Hey, get down here. Let's go. Get down here. Stay. Good girl, stay. We're going to go for a quick run. Pretty morning. Got beautiful scenery. Boat ramp. Hey, man the boat. You should see where we're going. Dog's having a fit. So in front of us, I don't know if y'all can see that, is the dam. It's one of 3 dams along here. From that dam going towards Grace, there's a spillway and 2 more dams. And they're not very big dams. I mean, that was about 140 foot high. But that's what blocks up the water in this reservoir. I guess about 70 years ago, they started blocking this off because the farmers needed a reservoir on the Bear River in here to water the potatoes and their crops. There's a lot of wheat farming here, canola, potatoes, of course. We're in Idaho. There's potatoes everywhere. But anyway, so yeah, it's a pretty cool dam. It's old. I think it was built in the 50s, 1950s, somewhere in there. That dam was. But anyway, the water's clear in here. It's always a little clearer in here. So we're going to use this wind to our advantage. I'm going to get you guys turned so you can see what the hell we're doing. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good morning. Thanks for hanging out with me. Like and subscribe. We're trying to get to that magic monetizing whatever so that we can use that money. I take a lot of people fishing, like kids. Matter of fact, a friend came by last night and asked me if I would take his 5-year-old fishing next week. And they're really good friends, and Cooper wants to go fishing with Uncle Radar. So it's pretty cool when the family trusts me enough to take their 5-year-old fishing. And he's a good kid, man, and he loves fishing. So next week, after we get done on the snake, I'll probably bring Coop out here. Watch out, Jess. Move, move, move. Thank you. Anyhow, see if we can't pull a fish off this point. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Like I say, I know it was a kind of cool that we had a long weekend, and the 4th was on Friday. I know a lot of people on Holy Mackerel. He's got a really good website. You should check him out. My sister website or whatever, her channel's Granny's Southern Corner. Check her out. She's got a lot of really cool information. That should be good for a fish. So yeah, it's a little bit clearer in here. The water's not as muddy. So we got to slow this retrieve down a little bit, but we'll catch some fish. It just isn't going to be a 200 fish day today, I don't think. Huh, Seth? Plus, we're probably going to end up not staying out too late this morning. I got 2 pissed off dogs at the house that didn't get to come fishing. And they get mad when I bring one of them. Don't take them all, but man, trying to fish with 3 dogs in the boat. It's great when you have 3 dogs when we're bird hunting. But my wife had to go to work today. And I had to go to work because, fishing. Yeah, this water's up. Like, it's up probably a foot since just the other day. Will you hush? We'll go over there later. She likes to get up on the bank. We got an island out here we call Spaniel Island because we bring the dogs out here. And they love going up there and running. Hey, stay in the boat. We're not going over there. No, ma'am. But I don't know, man. This air temperature might have slowed these fish down a little bit because it is chilly. I should have worn jeans. Stand up. There's a fish. Just as I said that, it's a dink. Oh, and off he comes at the boat. Hang on, Seth. So what we're fishing here, for those of you who just got on, thanks for joining. Like and subscribe. Share the channel. Go check out some of the other people. Oh, there you went. Right in the water. Come here. Seth, come. Come. Good girl. Come here. Cub. Cessna, come. Come. Come on. Good girl. We got to get our dog in the boat. Come on. Come here, sweetheart. She knows where she's going. Come on. 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 Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I got to get a hold of her. Oh, yeah. Wet dog. Told you were going to fall in. Crazy dog. I think she does that on purpose. She loves getting wet. You just scared off all our fish, you knucklehead. And now she's going to be chilly. Let's see. Before I get back up there. Cape Fishing Crew, how you doing this morning, Mr. Bait? Nice to meet you. You guys like and subscribe. Please. Check out Granny's Southern Corner. That's my sister. Holy Mackerel, Scooter, JW. There's a whole bunch of really good people on here. The fishing crew, everybody who has these little channels of fishing, they all seem like pretty decent people. Anyway, I think that this water being up and this chilly water, or this chilly air temperature this morning, till it warms up a little bit, I think it's supposed to be in the low 80s today. Yeah, there's a bunch of rocks that we're fishing here, and a little bit further in front of me, it drops off again into like 50 foot of water, 46 foot, I think it is. So these fish come out of that deep water up onto these rocks, and they, especially with it being a little chilly, the water temperature's fine, but these fish will get up on the rocks as the sun comes up, because the rocks will warm the water up around them a little quicker. And even though you can't see the rocks, we're basically just fishing structure. I guess you'd call it offshore structure, but it's not like we're in the middle of Lake Erie fishing something. There's a whole bunch of rock ledges and stuff in here. There's catfish in here. There's smallmouth bass. There's brown trout, rainbow trout, perch, a lot of perch, bluegills. There's no largemouth in here that we know of. They think that there's a couple walleye in here, but I've never caught one in here. You could go down the river to Oneida Reservoir, which is about 25 miles downstream, and they have walleye in there. You see, you done fell in. Now you're all wet. Crazy dog. But it's a pretty lake to fish here. We got great scenery. Usually deer. We see deer. We see elk. There's always a moose or two around here. I saw a bull moose this year that we got on video here. And then the other day when I was fishing, I didn't see her, but there was a cow and a calf. Another boat that came in the boat ramp, so they saw a cow and a calf that crossed the reservoir. Because most of this reservoir, other than the river channel, is pretty shallow. On the big lake out there, it's like 3 foot deep would be the average. I bet you it's not deep. But anyway, let's whip a Yui. Kind of hate to turn around because I'm gonna put y'all in the sun, but I got a wet dog. Told you were gonna fall in, you knucklehead. You're a knucklehead. Yeah, the breeze is actually blowing. It's probably blowing about 10. You know, it's not terrible, but it's blowing about 10, which makes it even chillier till this sun gets up. How'd that work out for you, Cessna? You get wet? Huh? So far we lost one at the boat. It wasn't a very big one. And where we're fishing's about 3 miles from Soda Springs, Idaho, and it's about 10 miles from Grace. So I fish this lake a lot. For those of you who've watched my channel, you know that. And those of you who just joined us, it's a great lake. It's close to the house. You got a chance on catching some big smallmouth. You come out and catfish this lake. And for the most part, it's not real busy. It's getting busier as the years have gone by. There's a lot more people out here. You wet? Huh? Yeah. Told you you're gonna fall in, you knucklehead. Man, usually right here, it's gonna be a slow day, I think. Boy, you're cold, Cessna. Holy crap. When you got a wet dog in the boat, she runs by your leg. You knucklehead. So out there where we started, the clarity of the water, I could see about 2 feet. Here, I could see about 4. when I bring the lure in, I could tell. So I ought to be able to catch some fish here a little easier. But kind of need this wind to die down. That'd help. It'd be really nice if the wind would quit, huh, Cessna? Because I bet you're chilly. Knucklehead. Knucklehead done went and got in the water. So where my boat's sitting, it's about 12 foot deep. And then where I'm casting to is about 2.5, 3 foot deep. And then behind me, there's about 36 foot of water. So like I said, these smallmouth will stack up in this deeper water, and then they come up in these shallows to feed. And as it warms up, and again, like I say, the water temperature's fine. It's just the air temperature's kind of chilly. Try to keep you guys out of the sun. But yeah, we live in the mountains, so this lake is at about 5,800 foot above sea level, so it's over a mile high. So, and it's in the middle of the Rocky Mountains in Idaho, so we have chilly mornings, even in the summer, which make for really nice camping weather. It could be 90 during the day, but it's still going to cool off at night into, the upper 50s, middle 50s. So it makes for really nice camping weather. But it makes for chilly mornings when you come fishing. Every now and then we'll have a morning that's 65 degrees, 62 degrees. And it's, that's what I was hoping for this morning. And that's why you got to check the weather. I know it's supposed to be warm and sunny today. We're not supposed to get any thunderstorms, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Because again, I live in the mountains. The mountains kind of make their own weather. Come on, fish. Everybody like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Go check out some of the other channels and some of the other people. Because it's a pretty good little community with all our little anglers. But yeah, next weekend, do some fly fishing down there. I got to go put in hunting camp. So we were putting all the tents and stuff together, and Nancy and I ran up and got our turkey blind out. I have a turkey blind that I leave in for turkey season. So we hopped in the truck and ran south of town and went and got the turkey blind out yesterday. Just kind of came home and took care of some business with some people, and I just had kind of a nice weekend. We didn't really do anything. Watched a bunch of people on YouTube that were having pretty good weekends. Holy Mackerel. Check out the Holy Mackerel. He's in New Jersey, and he was cooking a venison shoulder on an open fire. So we chatted for quite a bit. That was fun. Watch. Everybody's like, my wife was like, you're watching meat cook? And I'm like, yeah. I just wish I'd have been there to bring some beer and have a bite of that. Again, for those of you just joining, I'm throwing a live pointer. It's a ghost minnow pattern. A live pointer 65 DD, I think it is, and a ghost minnow. And we'll get into some fish here. They'll get up here and start feeding here. And I didn't check the sonar tables. I'll tell you, my granddad, when I was growing up, swore by the lunar tables. So, you can go and see when the major feed is and the minor feeds and all that. And they work. I mean, everybody knows on a full moon, the deer are out all night feeding and the bass are feeding all night and all that. So, I swear by the sonar tables unless the weather changes. If there's something going on and we have a big weather pattern change, that'll adjust things a little bit. But my hands are chilly. It's cold. Can't believe it's just chilly this morning for July, whatever. What is this, the 9th or 8th? let's see, 5th, 6th, 7th. I'm retired. I can't tell you what day it is. Weekends don't really matter when you're retired because, Huh, Cessna? You wet? Huh? Yeah, you wet dog, huh? Knucklehead. I told you you were going to fall in. You just wanted to go to shore and go swimming, didn't you? Yeah, small Munsterlander pointer. That's what Cessna is. She's a roan. Um, Piper's a liver and white. And Lily is a liver and white, but she's mostly liver colored. They're awesome dogs. They're kind of a great family dog. They got a lot of energy, but they've got an off switch. It's kind of cool because when you take them hunting or out and do this, they're 100 miles an hour, and you get them to the house, and it's like a switch goes off, and they chill out. They're kind of a one-person dog. I'd like to think Cessna's mine, but she really is Nancy's, unless we're going hunting or fishing. Piper is my dog. She loves her daddy. And Lily was Nancy's dog before we got married. She's 13 years old. So we don't take her to do a lot of this anymore because she's just getting too old. Slow morning. Slow morning fishing. But a busy morning for you, huh? Because you had to go get wet, didn't you? You knucklehead. Should have brought your little jacket. I love Labrador retrievers. My sister has a Labrador. Awesome dog. I had some really awesome labs, but as you just saw, Cessna falls in the water. I got to help her get in the back of the boat, and I cannot pick up a 100-pound Labrador retriever. There's no way. Not with my back. I just can't do it. So that's why I had to get a smaller dog. And these Monsterlanders top out at about 50 pounds instead of, 100-pound Labrador retriever. Yeah, they were dumping water out of here when I came by Grace, the dam there. There was a bunch of water gushing out. So they're moving water, which kind of doesn't help the clarity of this, but I would have thought we'd have caught some more fish already. Watch out. You got to move your tail, knucklehead. So I hope everybody's having a good morning. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe, please. We got, who was it the other day? Scooter. He's never had a 200 like day. And I know for a lot of you, you're thinking, well, 200 likes is nothing. But for, people who have small channels, that was cool. And we got him to 200 likes and a bunch of subscribers for him. So he's pretty close to hitting 1,000 where he can get monetized. And it's really cool that everybody kind of helps each other out. And if you subscribe to my channel, I will go through and subscribe to yours. I mean, YouTube's making gazillions of dollars. I don't think it's going to hurt them to have some new people that are monetized. So please like, subscribe, share the channel. Go check out other channels that people that are on there. JW, when he gets on, he started to put some content up. My sister's channel, Granny's Southern Corner. I think it's Granny's Corner. It's in, if you look in my description, it's one of the links to my sister's channel. And if you've never watched her, go check her out. She's got a southern accent that makes mine sound like I'm from New York. My sister's got a real cool accent. And she's got some really good advice on there. She's my older sister, so she's a good gal. My brother-in-law's a Yankee, so we have to tease him about being a Yankee because, we're from the South, but it's all in fun. I know you just can't stand it, can you? You're chilly. You had to go get wet. You done scared all my fish away. Come on, fish. I know y'all are in here. Slow this retrieve down a little bit and stop it. So what I do is this thing dives about 4 to 6 feet. It's not a deep diver. And I don't want anything diving too deep because, again, I'm bouncing it off of rocks. And we're sitting over that rock formation that comes out this way. And then to my left, there's deep water, and to my right, it's shallow. And we usually catch some fish right here, but I don't know. I'd almost rather just flow top water and see if I can get a bite. What we used to do in tournaments was I'd throw top water all day. And a lot of times you get a fish that'll hit top water and you find the fish that way and then throw something in on top of them if they don't come back and hit that frog or that prop bait, and you can catch them on one of these stick baits. So a lot of times out here, like especially when I fish with Wayne Cutler, my vet, he's a hunting buddy. We hunt whitetail together down on the Snake River. But anyway, Wayne, I'll throw top water, and then when I get a hit, if I miss it, Wayne will throw right in there behind me with one of these and catch it. So we catch a lot of fish doing that. But I'm just kind of jerking this thing. Make sure you use your rod tip when you work the bait. You try to see people using the reel to work bait, and it's just, you need to use a rod tip and then reel up. So what I'm doing, I'm just jerking it probably about 6 inches, 7 inches, a foot, and stopping it, and they'll usually hit it on that stop. And this is a suspending bait, so it doesn't float back to the surface. I might just grab the Ultralight and throw that tiny torpedo just to see what'll happen, because man, they just aren't turning on this morning. But welcome everybody. Hope you're having a good morning. I hope everybody's healthy and happy. I guess I'm as healthy as I can be, but I'm happy because we're fishing, huh, Cessna. And so Cessna is named after the Cessna Aircraft Company. And Piper, of course, is named after the Piper Aircraft Company because Daddy, my grandfather, was the first Cessna dealer in Florida, and one of the first crop dusters, if not the first crop duster. He started spraying in 1941, before World War II. So I was raised in a family of pilots. We owned an airport in Vero Beach, Florida, where Piper Aircraft Corporation, they have 2 plants. One was in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, and the other one was in Vero Beach, Florida. So I'm a Cessna fan because I flew Cessnas in Alaska for the most part. But that's who Cessna's named after, huh? She's named after the Cessna Aircraft Company, and the Cessna Aircraft Company's in Wichita, Kansas. So there's a lot of aviation history in my family. My son isn't a pilot just because the insurance companies kind of started dictating who could fly. You had to have a bunch of different time in order to fly a crop duster. When I grew up, you had to have 25 hours of time in that airplane to get insured. Well, now in some of them they want 1,200 hours. Well, there's no way in hell to get 1,200 hours in a single seat aircraft. You can't really fly uninsured. You have to have insurance. So the insurance companies kind of started dictating, the crop dusting industry, and because of that, there's very few crop dusters left. There's a few, and it's one of the reasons I moved out west, because back in the 80s they no-sailed a lot of the chemicals we were using, and some of them needed to be taken off the market because DDT was terrible crap. We used to spray it. I'm old enough to remember when we used to spray DDT. And parathion, there's a lot of the stuff got no-sailed. So I came out west because my grandfather figured that they were going to do away with crop dusting with the airplanes back east. And that didn't happen really till after 9/11 put a real dent in the crop dusting industry. But anyway, so I was a pilot. Is my main gig, but I also was a police officer at a sheriff's deputy and a coroner, chief deputy coroner of Rio Grande County, Colorado, for a while there. And I enjoy law enforcement, but boy, I'm sure I'm glad I'm not having to mess with it nowadays. There's just no respect for law enforcement anymore. And there's some bad cops out there, I agree, but most of them are good people. And it's a hard job. And I know y'all heard about the firefighters here in Idaho. That guy set that fire and then shot those guys, and that's just sad. Let's pray for those families, because that's a dirty, rotten son of a bitch that'll set a fire and then shoot the firefighters when they come to fight it. I mean, what a world, huh? Sorry, I don't cuss much, but that's bullshit. Well, when I was a law enforcement, we always went to the fire anyway, like, because we were already out on duty, patrolling. So if there was a fire call that came in, as cops, we would go to the scene of the fire, just to see what the hell was going on. So, back in the day where I was a cop, there was always, cops at a fire, usually, unless we were busy, we'd go to the fire. There's a hit. Come on, y'all turn on now. It's about time. What's this? Nope, got a rock. That's the other thing about fishing out here, is if you aren't getting hung up on rocks a little bit, every now and then, you're not fishing in the right place. You really need to get on these rocks. And if you ever go out with a guide, or you're fishing by yourself or whatever, you get hung up, I mean, unless you're on the bank, don't just sit there and keep jerking on it. All you're doing is driving the hook in deeper, especially in these rocks. If you get past it here, it'll pop right off. And if it doesn't pop right off, because I did set the hook, put the rod tip down there and carefully get it off. Yeah, see, it's hung up good. All right, we got to back the boat up. We're running it over. I don't want to lose this lure. These things are like $20. Nope, it's hung. Hung up, Cessna. Maybe it's not a rock. Maybe it's a. Watch out, Cess. You're gonna get knocked in the water again. It's not very deep here. It's only about 3 foot deep. I'm just gonna have to pull this thing off of here and hope it. There it goes. It was just wrapped around some stuff, and there it comes. Get out of there. Get your snoot out of there. I might have straightened. That's why I use braid. This is only 30-pound braid, and it's a lot heavier test than I really need for catching these smallmouth. But these hooks are Gamakatsu hooks. They're very sharp. I changed them out. Yeah, see, I broke a hook. Which, if I was in a tournament, I'd change it out. But since we're just fishing today, it's not playing around. It's not that big a deal. But that's why I use braid. These lures are so doggone expensive because they're made in Japan and not Chinese junk, and they're about $15 to $24 a piece, depending on where you get them and how many they've got. But anyway, I just don't like losing them. I could change the hooks on them, but that's why I use braid. Plus, braid, for those of you who fish monofilament and fluorocarbon, braid doesn't give at all. Neither does fluorocarbon. But braid is really hard on rods and reels. So these rods and reels aren't that expensive, but for the money, they're actually pretty good ones. I've got Shimano Calcuttas and all kinds of really good reels at the house. They're a lot better suited to braid, but braid has no give. So when you set the hook, or you're hung up like I was a minute ago, all that strain and stress goes right to your reel and your rod. So braid is something you're gonna have to buy more reels, and I've got rods that have grooves that are in the guides from using braid. Of course, I can't use those rods anymore, but Um, come on, fish. What a slow morning. If I didn't know it was going to be this slow, we could have stayed in bed. But I wouldn't have been out hanging out with you guys. Let me go check all these things. Sorry, I don't get on the chat. I need to figure out a way to do this better. John Joe, man, rockfish. Yeah, exactly. His personal best stick fish was a giant, had 3 limbs. Yeah, somebody caught a tree. But good morning. Went to braid, but switched back over. Yeah, yeah. And monofilament, I use it on my ultralights, and I've got rods that have mono on it, but it stretches, and it's just a little more forgiving than this braid is. Hey, Holy Mackerel. Yeah, like and subscribe. Y'all check out the Holy Mackerel's channel. He's got a really cool channel. Good dude. He does all kinds of stuff. He does, cooking, and he had a shoulder, venison shoulder the other day. He was cooking over an open fire, which was really cool. Um, yeah, go like and subscribe to his channel. Sister Rose, hello from Independence, Missouri, man. Awesome. That's a great place to be. I've been to Independence, Missouri. I did a little bit of spraying in Missouri, crop dusting, and I used to fly for Midwest Airlines on occasion. The guy that owned it, Doug Carlson, and I were friends, and I'd fly down from Alaska, jump seat down, and fly his King Air around Missouri from St. Louis. He kept his airplane at St. Charles County Airport, so I've spent a lot of time. John Joe's personal best. Let's see who else is on here. Holy Mackerel. Yeah, thanks, Holy Mackerel. I appreciate you, man. Caught some night catfish last night on his live stream he posted this morning. I saw what. Hey, Audrey, Ashley, how are you doing this morning? Um, Good morning from Maine. Wow. Gee, welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all joining me. It's kind of slow. I'm going to whip back around here, but I wanted to come check the chat. But I need to make Holy Mackerel. If you're going to be on for a minute, I'm going to make you a moderator, because I think that did it. Yeah, Holy Mackerel, if you're going to be on for a little while, I don't know where my sister's at this morning. Have you had a problem with invasive fish? Yes, Sister Rose. There's a lot of carp in here, Asian carp, and they're tearing up the bottom. That's why I had to come back here, because they're out there breeding. They're still spawning here, because we spawn later, of course, because I'm in the Rocky Mountains, and our spring doesn't really start till June. So we get like 3 days of spring, and then summer hits. But there's a lot of carp here, and most of the fish that are in this water are invasive. Speaking as the fact, yeah, the carp eat fish eggs. That's exactly right, John Joe. Um, anyway, the carp out there have got it all muddied up because they're breeding, and they get on the rock piles and they just make a mess. But most of the fish that are in this river system, other than the brown trout, rainbow trout, even the rainbow trout are not, they're invasive. They were added. I mean, they're invasive in the sense that there's no rainbows here originally. There's Yellowstone cutthroats here, but there weren't rainbows. But Fish and Game that I used to work for, we stock them here, obviously, because fishermen like catching rainbow trout. I saw my small lake end up like that, the carp right up where the shore and the really low water spawning. Yep. And they eat the grass, man. There was a lake in Colorado called Lake Sanchez that was down near San Luis, Colorado. And it used to be the state record pike was caught in Lake Sanchez in Colorado. And when I fished it back in the 80s, it was a beautiful lake. And somehow the carp got in there. And in 10 years, they had completely destroyed the shoreline. There was no grass left. It was just, a mess. And Division of Wildlife in Colorado had to go in, drain the lake completely, kill all the carp, and restock the whole lake because there was no grass left. And the only thing that was really thriving in there were the carp. And there were, bass in there. There were pike and big pike. I mean, we caught like 400 pike in one day in there. It was amazing pike fishing. And there were some big ones in there. But they had to kill the lake basically to get all the carp out of it. So I don't know. Here, there's no way. The smallmouth bass are actually invasive. there weren't any smallmouth in the Bear River to start with, but somebody brought the Smallies out here, which I'm glad they did, because hell, it makes for great fishing, but with a lot of invasive species. Like when you guys move your boat, they found mussels, those not zebra mussels, but the other ones that they found those in the Snake River 2 years ago. And I had a bunch of friends out here from Florida, and they dropped the water. They actually cut the Snake River flow off. They had never done that, but they cut this flow off to try and kill the mussels. And then they found them again last year, so they did the same thing, and they found them near Twin Falls. So it's not just fish that are invasive. We've got invasive mussels. There's a lot of invasive aquatic vegetation here now. They found milfoil growing in a lake here, and we have no idea how the milfoil is surviving the cold water, because this lake that I'm on right now freezes up solid in the winter, and people come out here ice fishing. And milfoil aquatic vegetation should not be able to thrive in freezing temperatures, but it is. So they're trying to figure out how to kill that in that lake and hoping it doesn't get spread. But I'm from Florida originally, and it is so sad to see all of the doggone invasive stuff. There's pythons and iguanas and frogs, and Florida's like invasive species kingdom, man. It's crazy. But y'all like and subscribe to the channel if you would. I think there's 50 people watching. If I could hit 500 subscribers today, that'd be freaking awesome. Yeah, slow morning. I think what we're going to do is we're going to zip back to this rock pile again, go back up to the top of this and turn around and throw top water and see if we can't catch one on the ultralight. I got to show y'all what Cessna's doing. She's sitting in her chair. It's kind of funny. Cessna, it's a slow morning. Here, I'm going to turn you all around for a minute. Check this out. This is what Cessna does. Stay. Let's see. Say hi, Cessna. She's sitting in her chair. She said, I got to have my own chair, and I'm wet. I'm not a happy dog because I'm wet, and it's kind of chilly. I told you were going to fall in. Let me get you guys turned back around here. I started using this tripod in the boat, and it actually works pretty good if the dog doesn't knock it over. Let's go see if we can catch a fish on this ultralight. So this rod is for y'all. Try to tube jig. Not today. They do love them on those small paws. Those tube jigs are awesome. Yeah, zebra mussel. Come on, what are you doing, crazy dog? John Joe, with the zebra mussels near me, they stopped motorboats because the shorelines were filled with them. Yeah, that's what they're trying to avoid here. So what I'm going to throw is this tiny torpedo. I put that feathered tail on it because that feather, when it undulates in the water, when you stop it, the fish will hook themselves, because I'm only throwing this on 4-pound test. This is a custom rod that was made for me by Lee Howard. It's a short little rod, as you can see. I got 4-pound test monofilament on here, and I usually don't throw top water with monofilament, but on this ultralight I do. And it's got a Synergy reel. This reel's 30 years old, but it's a great reel. It's got an awesome drag system in it. I know this reel back in the day was about $280, and I saw the other day that the Quantum Synergies are like $101 to $110, somewhere in there. But I don't think they're put together as well as they used to be. And the drag system in these things is awesome. It's got a really smooth drag. So if you fish ultralight or any reel you get, you want a smooth drag system, because there's no way in hell you're going to catch a big fish on 4-pound test if your drag is jerky. That's what causes them to break, the line to break, one of the reasons. So you got to make sure you got a decent drag system. And this rod and reel is a really good setup. But it casts a mile. Let's see if we can't get one on top water here real quick. And because it's kind of chilly, the air temperature's chilly this morning, and it's a little bit muddy, I'm going to fish this thing a little slower, in the sense that I'm not going to move it as far in the water column up there, or as far on the surface, so I could give the fish time to find it. We actually caught a bluegill the other day on this thing, and I didn't even know there were bluegills in here, but there's one that we know of. I didn't catch it, Cole did. Anyway, it's a pretty day. We're fishing, which means, that's better than working. We got a little chop to the water because of this breeze we've got, which kind of helps us spit water a little bit better. Anyway, like and subscribe. Check out Holy Mackerel's channel. Check out my sister's channel. Anybody who subscribes to my channel, I'll go through later and subscribe back. I don't care if you have videos or not, because at some point maybe you're going to want to start putting content in there. And if you do want to start trying to get monetized, it's kind of nice to help each other out on here, because YouTube makes enough money without us that I don't think it's going to kill them to monetize a few more people. And I said in the past, I never really thought about monetizing. The only reason I did this channel was I've got my son's in Florida. So I've got 2 grandsons that are in Florida, and I don't get to see them very often because, I live out here. So I figured I'd do this channel where my family can kind of keep up, and my sister, I watch her channel quite a bit, which is nice because I can see my sister every day, even though she's in Florida. But we had to get out of Florida. There were just too many people down there. And I was a fishing guide on the Indian River, and you're going to get hit in the head, knucklehead. Being a fishing guide in Florida, I was busy as all get out. But it got to where you just couldn't get away from people. Even on a weekday, you'd go out, man, there's 1,000 people out there. There's nobody on this lake this morning, just us. We got the whole place to ourselves. And I know why, because the fish aren't hitting. Anyhow, come on, fish, I know you're here. We had that one hit that I lost right at the boat, and it wasn't a very big fish. But if I'd have got my hands on it, at least we wouldn't be skunked. So just what I'm fishing up against, and I wish I had somebody to turn this camera. I'll try and turn it so y'all can see what I'm doing. There's a bunch of reeds right here, and then there's rocks that come out off the shore about 15 yards or so, and then it drops off into deeper water. And like I said, these fish, there's a bunch of carp up there, which is muddying it up. But those smallmouth will eat those carp eggs too. So if I can get, let me turn you guys a little bit. PR, how you doing this morning, man? Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Lake sturgeon. Yeah. I wish we had some in here. We have sturgeon in the Snake River. Biggest in general, 2 shorts. Hey Steve, how you doing this morning? PR, let me give you one of those little wrench things too, because I appreciate you guys helping me out. My sister, I don't know what they're doing today. I know that they went out. Let me see if I got that turned a little better so y'all can see what I'm doing. The sun's going to be in y'all's eyes till I turn around here, but there's reeds right there, like I said, and those rocks. And if I can get this little tiny torpedo right on top of those rocks, usually I get a hit when it comes off of those rocks. So another little tip, when you're throwing a spinning rod, learn to close the bail with your hand. I know anybody who fishes a spinning rod, you'll notice the line gets twisted up on them. It's just the physics of how they get reeled in. Hey, stay in the boat. You don't need to be getting back in the water, you knucklehead. But anyway, sorry about the sun in your eyes. Anyway, if you learn to close the bail with your hand, it'll take it's still going to twist up a little bit, but it'll take it a lot longer. And you also have a lot better accuracy with a spinning reel if you close it with your hand. Cessna, stay in the boat. Knucklehead, what's the matter with you this morning? She really wanted to come fishing, but I don't think she wanted to fish. I think she just wanted to go swimming. Because these small Munsterlander pointers, they love the water. Hey, knucklehead. There should be a fish right there. That's where we lost that one. Hey, you're in the way. Thank you, knucklehead. She's like, come on, Dad, catch a fish. You fruitcake. Get in your seat, Cessna. You're going to end up falling into what she wants to get out and go on the bank. There's a lot of pheasants around this lake. So being a pheasant dog, she can smell them and she gets all excited. Problem is, these Munsterlanders put their head down because they find a bird. And man, that's why she has an e-collar on her. I don't use it to shock her. Occasionally, you got to kind of let her know who's the boss because they're hard-headed dogs sometimes. But the main reason I have that e-collar on is it's got a tone to it. And I can push the button on the controller and it's got a tone that she can hear. And out here, the wind's always blowing. So I train most of my labs with a whistle. But in the water, it's hard for them to hear that whistle. So that tone she can hear. So I use that e-collar on her. No, we're not going in there. Stay. Yeah, I can't believe the fishing's so slow this morning. But this lake got hammered this weekend. I mean, there was a lot of pressure. A lot of times I don't fish on the weekends because, like I say, there's too many people out. But I like to wait till Tuesday because that way it gives the lake a day to kind of chill out after a busy weekend. And there's people that wakeboard out here, the water ski and all kinds of stuff. So they muddy up the water pretty bad too. But come on, fish. Yeah, we got about a 10 knot breeze, so it's blowing us pretty good. I know there's a fish right there. I know there's smallmouth sitting right there. But yeah, tube jig would work great in here. I'm just not a big plastics fisherman. I used to be, and I can do it. It's just, and usually, like my partner, when I was fishing tournaments, either one of them, I usually would throw Topwater all day, and they'd be throwing a little bit of everything. And the other day, Cole was fishing a crawdad pattern, and he did real well that day. But I caught just as many fish as he did using that stick bait I use and Topwater. So I might have to do that, put on a jig and just put a swim jig on and swim it through here. Come on, baby. I know you're there. The other thing is when you're fishing Topwater, especially one of these prop baits, throw back into the same place more than once. Because a lot of times you'll throw a Topwater in there, a frog or this thing, and you'll reel it across something. And the fish will come looking for it, but you've pulled it through the strike zone. So if you throw it right back in there, even if you didn't get a hit, throw it in there and work it through there again, because sometimes the fish that was looking for that bait that you just reeled through there will come up and smack it. It's just not happening today. Yet. It will. Huh, Cessna? Come on, fish. It's right over the rocks, man. Something ought to come up and just knock the crap out of that thing. But I had a buddy out here a couple of weeks ago, Bo, came out one evening with me, and he fishes for smallmouth all over the state. and we were fishing topwater, and he said, I've never ever seen a topwater bite like that for smallmouth. And I'm like, yeah, I do really well in here usually, but it's just not happening this morning. But thanks for joining me, you guys. I appreciate it. I'll throw that stick bait in here again. They just aren't messing with this topwater right now. I think we just need it to warm up a little bit. Yeah, thanks, PR. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the support, you guys. Like and subscribe, because like I say, usually we're catching fish. It's just not happening this morning. But I was kind of due for one of these days because we've been tearing them up, having a pretty good summer so far. I'm looking forward to next week, though, because, man, y'all, I can guarantee you come hang out with me on the Snake River, you're going to watch me catch some big brown trout. I fly fish down there, but since I've gotten older and had all these surgeries, I can't throw a fly rod all day like I used to. It's not that it's hard, it's just the repetitive motion really cranks on my shoulders. And so down there, I started fishing with a bait caster and a spinning rod, throwing these stick baits, and just tear the trout up. And the biggest trout I caught last year was a 28-inch brown. I caught a couple 26-inchers, and then I caught that 28-inch brown trout, and then I lost one that was over 30 inches. It was the biggest trout I've seen down there. I caught that 28-incher, and then hooked that 30-incher just, I don't know, probably 10 minutes later, because the trout were really feeding there that day. And I fought that fish for about 10 minutes, and it broke the braid finally. And it took a lot of line with it when it went. And it was new braid, so I don't know if I just got a bad batch. I throw Power Pro braid, 30-pound test, and I change the line. There's a hit once a year. I missed that fish. Let's see if I don't think I got a hook in him. Let's see. There's a big old carp right there. Dang. And carp will hit this thing. I catch a lot of carp on this lure. I don't like catching them because they make such a mess in the boat. What? You wanted to get in the water, you fell out. So you're just going to have to be chilly. I love you, but if you'd quit walking down the catwalk of the boat, you probably... When we get close to shore, she just wants to hop up there and go run. And the lady that lives in that house down there brings their dogs out. She always has a fit. There was a hit right at the boat. I think the stick bait's going to be the thing. Fish, come on. But yeah, y'all can see what I'm fishing, those reeds. And then there's rocks that come out to about here, about 15 yards off, or about 10 yards off those reeds. And then all down this bank, there's rocks. And those fish sit in these rocks. I'll catch a fish in here. Come on. I know you guys are here. And we got pretty good water clarity here. It's not super clear, but it's better than it was. You know, you're going to fall in, right? No, we're not going over there yet. I'll take you up there and you go play in a minute. We got to catch a fish, Cessna. We got to catch a fish. Come on. What? I know, but you don't need to go up there and run around chase pheasants. It's not pheasant season. We got a couple more months. So yeah, this year we'll be down on the Snake River here next week, and I'll be out there quite a bit till after hunting season. And then I'm going to Minnesota to go bear hunting. The breeder that we get our dogs from, Gary, we've become really good friends, and we went there last year, went pheasant hunting with him, took all the dogs with us and hunted over all the dogs and had just a blast of a time. So we decided this year I was going to go to Canada to go bear hunting because I wanted to shoot another bear before I got too old. There's grass. But anyway, we're going to go bear hunting in Minnesota and then probably go pheasant hunting in South Dakota. So we do a lot of crazy, fun stuff. That's the one thing about living out west here is there's always something to go do. Just slow. There's a rock, I think. Come on. I think these fish just got hammered this weekend. Not just by fishermen, but there was a lot of activity on this lake over the weekend. It was a long weekend, so the guys who wakeboard, I used to water ski, so I get it, but they sure make a mess of the lake. Come on, fish. I know you're there. Grass. You don't need any of that. Grass, grass, grass. Cessna, you're supposed to be my good luck dog today, Cessna. So far, we ain't had much luck. We caught a rock, caught some grass. Hey, you're gonna fall in. I'm gonna whip this boat around. But you can see the scenery. It's gorgeous. There's deer up there. There's elk up there. There's moose here. Turkeys. There's all kinds of cool stuff around the lake. Let me whip around here. We'll go back by this one more time. And maybe what we'll do is go ahead and fish down the bank towards the dam. You're going to fall in. There you go. Y'all can see what I'm fishing now. Hey, knucklehead, you're going to fall in the water again. I'm telling you. Thank you. Crazy dog. You're just a crazy dog. But yeah, Blackfoot Reservoir is close to us, and it's a big reservoir on the Blackfoot River. Go to the carp. But Blackfoot gets really grassy, and this time of the year the water's green from the algae blooms, and it's just not very good fishing. You catch smallmouth there too, but that lake's about 12 miles north of us, and I fish it occasionally, but I'd rather be on this one because just better smallmouth fishing here. Just not today apparently, but it's gonna happen. Come on, Cessna, hold your mouth right. Huh? You getting dry? Knucklehead. You're a good girl. You are. You're a good girl. Yeah, I got 2 mad dogs at the house because they got left this morning. And I'm sure Piper's going to have a fit when I get home. Yeah, just slow morning. Again, it's chillier this morning than I thought it was going to be. I put shorts on, and it wasn't that bad at the house because the wind wasn't blowing, but I knew it was chilly, but it had to be in the upper 40s, low 50s. I never checked the weather to see. I know it's supposed to get up in the 80s today. Oh, there's a fish. Yay! Yay! Let's get this one in the boat, Cessna. That's actually not a bad fish. Finally! Thanks, everybody who hung out with me. If we can get this one in the boat, come on, baby. That's actually not a bad fish. It's not a great fish, but it's not a bad fish. Because it's a fish. Yay! Yay, little smallmouth. Nice thing about bass is you can lip them. I can't get my hands on this one, but you can lip bass. You can't do that with a trout. Plus trout, man, it's like you hook one, and when you get it out of the water, you really got to hurry to get it back in the water because it doesn't take much to kill a trout. They're just not, those cold water fish just aren't as hardy as these warm water fish are. Yeah, let's show everybody Cessna. A really pretty, healthy, just not big, smallmouth. See, pretty fish. And of course, y'all know we give the fish a kiss, send them back. Let's go see if we can get in. Maybe they're going to start turning on here a little bit. Again, that wind's blowing enough that with this flat bottom Go Devil boat, it doesn't take much to get blown off of where you're at. Huh, Sess? Get back over there on that pile. So yay, we lost one at the boat earlier and then caught that one. And I had a couple other hits, but topwater bite's not happening today. And I think somebody mentioned throwing a swim jig or a tube bait. That would probably be a good idea. And I appreciate the input. Let's see if we can get another one off of here now. Because I know they're in here. But yeah, I just keep my rod tip up across the rocks. And then as it gets deeper water, just lower the rod tip and bring that bait a little bit deeper. A lot of times when you're fishing these smallmouth, you'll hook one and there'll be other fish trying to take the bait away from it. Or you'll have 3 or 4 other fish following that fish up with it, with the, the one I hooked. That hadn't happened yet today. But one fish. Woohoo. I know there's a fish on that big rock right there, Cessna. But it's really shallow. Get over there and get on that big rock, Cessna. I know we're going to catch a fish off that thing. The other thing is I'm having to run my trolling motor a little bit faster than I want to because of this wind. And okay, we're on that rock. Nothing. Where's the fish, Cessna? Yeah, you find any kind of structure, there's usually a fish on it. But again, they're just not with the program today, are they? Cess. Huh? She is a very good boat dog. All of our dogs are really good in the boat. It's one of the first things we take and teach them is how to get in and out of the boat and how to not fall in the water. But she gets excited because she smells a pheasant. And we're fishing. We're not pheasant hunting. You knucklehead. But like and subscribe. I hope y'all are enjoying the morning with me. I know it's not the best fishing day, but if we caught fish every time, it makes it fun. But you got to have one of these days every once in a while. I'm just glad it's not a tournament day. Because I'd be like going, holy crap, we missed an early morning bite because they weren't hitting. And we need some fish. Grass. Grass, grass, grass. Come on, fish. I've gotten old. I got to be careful what I do here. I'll fall in the dang water. And if anybody asks, I have my life jacket on under here. I don't have it on, but my wife will have a fit if she finds out I'm out here by myself without my life jacket on. Most of this lake's real shallow, so if I did fall out of the boat, I could stand up right there. The boat's going to drift back to the dam because of the wind, but we're just going to try not to fall in the water again, aren't we, Cessna? Come on, fish. I just think throwing a tube jig or a swim bait. If I'm not catching them on this, they're just usually not hitting. Because everything in this system, besides eating crawdads, because I said earlier in this stream, usually when we catch a fish, they spit up a couple crawdads. Even the catfish, the trout, everything we catch in here's got crawdads in its gut. So any crawdad bait works great. I've thrown them and caught fish on them, but I catch just as many on the stick bait. And I usually catch bigger fish on the stick bait. So, as much as I like catching fish, I'd really like to get that 8-pounder. I've caught a lot of largemouth over 10 pounds. My personal best largemouth was 15 pounds, 10 ounces, and I caught it in Vero Beach, Florida in 1979 at Corrigan's Ranch there in Vero Beach in a Morrill pit. It's a lake. When they built I-95, they dug a bunch of pits to get the gravel or the limestone for the bed of the road. So they built all these little lakes and ponds along I-95, and all of those, they stocked them with fish. And then since they were on private property, nobody fished them for decades except for Corrigan's. And we got permission because they were good friends to go out there and start fishing those lakes. So I caught my first 10-pound bass, was 10 pounds, 8 ounces in that same lake. I caught that 15-pounder. But because we got to fish private property and a lot of fishing ponds that people didn't get to fish, I've caught a lot of bass over 10 pounds. And then because I was learning how to do it, there goes a bunch of carp we just spooked. I was fortunate enough to catch a lot of big bass. And then when I started fishing public lakes for tournaments and stuff, I just took the knowledge that I learned from fishing those smaller ponds to the public lakes. And it's Florida. You throw a frog. I noticed, I watch channels that people talk about they've never caught a 10-pound bass. And I'm telling you, I did a frog tutorial a couple days ago. If you do what I do to those frogs and you go throw that frog, you'll catch a 10-pound bass. I'll guarantee it. Because I didn't do a lot of freshwater guiding. There's a fish. I have some clients that, come on, baby. Come on, let's get this one in the boat, Cessna. Another one a little bit bigger than the one we just got. So there's 2 in the boat. Not very big. But anyway, take that frog and throw it. You'll catch a 10-pound bass. You might catch a 12-pounder because I've caught several that were 12. A frog in here would work too. It's just I haven't thrown a frog because it's kind of like a fall bait thing. We have frogs in Idaho, of course, but not like in Florida. So there, pretty fish. Go grow up. Go tell your sister to hit this thing. So that's 2. Like I say, it needs to warm up a little bit. If this breeze had quit and let this air temperature warm up a little bit, I think the topwater bite would start. Because I tell you, you'll hear people say, oh, you can't fish topwater if it's sunny. You can't fish topwater if it's not windy. You can't fish topwater if it's windy. You can't. Bullcrap. Throw topwater if you want to catch big fish. Even in here, I throw that prop bait that I started with earlier, and I've caught some really nice fish in here on that thing. But just right now, it's just not happening. Plus, it's a hell of a lot more fun throwing topwater, man. They get mad at it, and they hit it 3 times, and they come out of the water finally and just destroy the bait. And it's just fun to watch. So yeah, for those of you just joining, like and subscribe, hang out with us, check out the other channels, the other people on here. Most of them have fishing channels, and they're all really good folks. I've been fortunate that I don't get a lot of negative, a lot of people being jerks, which I don't know why people have to be like that. It's like, I was raised and taught that I'm a hey, how you doing kind of person, meaning I'll go up and say hi to you. If I make eye contact with somebody, I'll say hello to them. Because you don't know what kind of day those people are having. It might be the worst day of their life, and somebody just saying hi to them. There's just no need for all the negativity of people being nasty. And I don't talk about politics much, but man, I'm from the school that, I don't care who you vote for. I don't dislike you. I mean, nowadays, you might think it's kind of dumb to vote how some of these people are voting, and everybody on here knows what I'm talking about. But man, we were raised just because somebody's a Democrat or a Republican, you don't hate the person. I mean, holy crap. Come on, I know there's a fish right there. This wind's kind of blowing us back on the rocks here, so we don't want to get on that. But I would like to get this thing up against that bank and see if we can pull a fish off of there. Another one. Because you find one smallmouth, you're usually going to find a bunch of them. And I know they're here. Just slow morning. But 2 fish are better than none. But yeah, I was hoping, usually we have a breeze pretty much every morning in the Rocky Mountains. Whoa, about fell in there. I'm telling you, man, getting old sucks. Let me come back and turn you guys where you can see what's going on. Maybe see the dog fall in the water. Let's see. Careful holding the fish at such a steep angle, break the jaw and spine. Good fish though. Thanks, man. Yeah, those bass, it isn't so bad on. And I don't know if y'all notice, I keep this finger, my middle finger kind of underneath there. So when I'm holding them, I'm actually supporting that. But you're right. Yep, Fish on Peter. Thanks for joining, man. Like and subscribe. Mo Style 66. Morning. Hope you guys are all doing good today. Going to the train. PR, have a wonderful day, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. I really do. Thanks for hanging out with me. But yeah, subscribe, please. I appreciate it. And like I say, go check out some of the other channels of the people that are on here, because we've got a good group. I never thought I'd be somebody who would enjoy, just sitting at the house sometimes, just watching other people fish. But I've learned some stuff. I'm 61 years old, and I don't know it all. I know a lot about fishing because I've done it my whole life and made a living at it. But it's cool to be able, you got to admit, technology's awesome, where I can sit here on a lake in Idaho and fish with you guys, and y'all might learn something. If nothing else, you'll learn about this lake a little bit. And it's been really cool to watch Holy Mackerel do what he does, because he's got some cool stuff going on, because he's fishing not only freshwater but saltwater, and catfishing, and just doing all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of cool to see what other people do, because tournament fishing, we usually don't talk a lot about what we're doing, because we're fishing for a living. And I had friends that over the years, when I was bass fishing and fishing tournaments and guiding and stuff, they were like, "Oh, you get to play all the time." There's a fish just followed it up there, so they're gonna start hitting here, I think. But yeah, people. Hey, what? What? Just wait. Why are you having a fit? I don't know if y'all can hear her, but she's just dog. Anyway, it's been really cool to learn some stuff from some other people about this. But people would say about me fishing for a living, they were like, "Oh, you get to play all the time." Well, yeah, kind of, but it's a lot of work. And when you're fishing tournaments, it's like a job. It really is. Because if you're going to make a living at it and make money at it, you got to pre-fish the tournament. When I'm guiding, even if I didn't have clients, I would be on the water, because you got to, stay on top of what's going on and who's out there. And, in Florida, they might have netted that. If you're not out there and you wouldn't know that they netted an area. And if you went there with clients the next day, you're not going to have a very good day. So you got to kind of stay on top of all this. And it was a job. Even I'd get up at 4 in the morning and I'd go fishing. And with tournaments, there's a hit. Come on, baby. Come on. I know you want it. With the tournaments, we'd start on Monday and say we were fishing Lake Seminole. Well, I'd drive the boat to the lake and I spend all week pre-fishing for the tournament and figuring out what was going on. And then my partner, either one of them would usually fly in on Friday, because the tournament's on Saturday and Sunday. They'd fly in on Friday. Oh, there's a hit. Nope, got a rock. And of course, I set the hook in the doggone thing. There we go. Another rockfish. But I'd fish all week. And then, I was pretty tired by the time the tournament started. Sometimes we'd get to a lake and figure it out pretty quick. There, it came right off. Well, good deal. See if I can stay off these rocks and catch a fish right here. But so anyway, by the time the tournament started, I'd already fished all week. And then my partner would show up, and we usually do pretty well in these tournaments. And we'd fish the tournament, and then they'd fly home or drive home to work that week. And since I was fishing for a living, I would take the boat and go to the next lake that we were going to be fishing the tournament in the following weekend. And I'd fish all week on that lake. So, and then, I had to go to work because I was flying or driving the tour bus. When I was driving the bands, sometimes we'd have to stop because I had to go to work. But then when I get off of work, I'd fly home, grab the boat, and haul ass to wherever we were going to fish next. So it's a living and it's work. And sometimes there's days that, man, you're tired. We had a tournament one time out of Palatka, fishing the St. Johns River, and it was a big law enforcement tournament, and everybody thought we'd win it because it was our area. My partner and I fished that lake. We fished Lake Crescent, and we fished Rodman Reservoir. And people in Florida know where I'm talking about. It's up in the central part of the state near Ocala. And everybody figured we were the shoe-ins to win. We caught one fish in a 3-day tournament. One fish. And it got so bad that last day on Sunday, we were ticked off, and it was just a bad tournament for us. And everybody was real surprised because there's a fish right at the boat. Good job. Everybody was real surprised that we didn't do better. But it was something we were pretty ticked off about. That's a better fish. Much better fish. Still not a keeper. They have to be 14 inches to keep them on this lake. I don't keep fish in the springtime because these fish are full of eggs. A lot of them have spawned out now, but that's a 12-inch. Very healthy. Here, I'll show you guys. Very healthy fish. But what you were saying about supporting them is, you can see I have my middle finger down there. So when I pick it up like that, I'm actually got all the way to the fish is down here where my ring finger's at. So I'm not just holding them by the jaw. But that's a good thing to point out. I appreciate you pointing that out. It's hard for me to see who's saying hello. Well, good morning. Like and subscribe. Glad you guys are all hanging out with me today. Thanks for all the likes. But see, that fish has got eggs in it. If you can see her belly, it's just a little female. But again, I'm supporting her by her belly. I'm not just hanging her by the jaw. Because we love our little fish, don't we? That's 3. Yeah. Yep, stick bait. Because a lot of times, another thing that works real well in here, I'm not a big spinnerbait fisherman. They're easy to fish. You throw it out and slow roll it back through this stuff. You can take white spinnerbait and do real well out here. And a lot of times, if I have somebody new to fishing, I'll put a spinnerbait on because it's easy for them to fish it. All they got to do is throw it out and reel in. And everybody who fishes knows cold water fishing. If you get a cold front in Florida or something, you want to get something like a stick bait and just fish it very slowly, or take a spinner bait and fish it real slow. So because of this wind and this air temperature this morning, even though the water temperature is 70 degrees, I'm getting these hits when I stop it. So where I got you guys pointed, it's kind of away from the sun, but again, I'm throwing across along the edge of a rock bank here. Even though you can't see it, there's a ledge that comes out from the shoreline here where the old river channel went through. And a lot of times I'll go out in the main lake and fish the rock piles out there, but it's really muddy out there today. The water's real muddy and the wind's blowing. So it's really hard to hang on to the boat when you get out in that open water. And you can see the mountain right here that blocks a lot of that wind, so it's not too bad right here. It'd be better if we were catching more fish. But yeah, for those of you who just joined, I'm fishing a 7-foot medium heavy action, fast action tip rod. It's a Royal Select Cast King rod with a Cast King reel that's an 8.1 to 1 retrieve, so it's kind of a fast reel with braid, 30-pound braid. And I don't use a fluorocarbon. A lot of times I'll put a fluorocarbon leader on this thing, but you'll have people say that you have to have a fluorocarbon leader, and there's people that swear by not using one. And again, when I'm fishing these rock piles, I kind of don't like using a fluorocarbon leader because you have an extra knot that's just another breaking point. And even though I use a double uni knot, which is a really good, leader to line knot, when you get in these rocks, I want to be able to pull that hook straight or break the hook. If it, like I broke the hook earlier on that rock, because I get my bait back and I can change the hooks out in them later. And again, if I was fishing a tournament, I would have taken either change baits. In a tournament, I would have just changed baits. I wouldn't have taken the time to put a new hook on. But in a tournament, I would have changed that hook out. But because we're just playing around out here, it's not that big a deal. I might miss a fish or two because of it, but it's just all about patience, everybody. If you're going to fish for a living, you guys know you got to be patient. It's hard sometimes, but there's a hit. Come on, baby. Come on. Only bad thing about a stick bait, when they hit it, they usually get a hook, and they realize it's not something they want to eat. Sometimes they'll get mad and come back and hit it again. Again, I'm bouncing it off rocks, which I can feel them hit the rock, and I always stop it after it hits the rock because it'll make a tick when it hits the rock. And sometimes that'll trigger a bite. Yeah, Monday morning, there's a bunch of birds up here on the side of that hill. So I was telling people were asking me what we do for the 4th of July out here. The top of that mountain right here that y'all can see, when we do our fireworks out here on the 4th, all of us from Grace, which is on the other side of that mountain where I live, go to the top of that hill, and we watch the fireworks in Soda, and they shoot them off over this lake. So we can stay above, we're actually above the fireworks when they're shooting them off. So it's not like back east where you're looking up at the fireworks. We're looking down at them. It's really cool. It's just, I should have filmed that. We didn't go watch the fireworks up there this year, but next year I'll have to film it because it's one of the few places in the country where when we go watch our fireworks, we're actually looking down at them. And the whole town goes up there. It's actually a pretty big party. Everybody will bring picnic, dinners and stuff, and drive their 4-wheelers or their 3-wheelers or their side-by-sides. I usually take my Jeep and we drive up there. It's a good time. But we're old. This year we spent we were in bed pretty early on the night of the 4th. I watched the holy mackerel fishing, and Scooter was out fishing. I know Scooter's been fishing all week. Scooter and Mrs. Scooter, they have a really cool channel, both of them. Check them out. My sister's channel, Granny Southern Corner. She's got a lot of good information. We're going to start doing, like, I'll catch some fish and then she'll show you how to cook them. Man, she's a hell of a cook. I say that every time I talk about my sister because, holy crap, ain't nobody in our house skinny. And I enjoy Thanksgiving down there because, holy cow, what a feast. Yeah, slow morning. Again, lake got a lot of pressure this weekend. But it still didn't get the pressure that some of the lakes back east get because there's a whole hell of a lot of people on these things. Now, what are you doing, Cessna? She fell on the water earlier, but she hadn't knocked the tripod over. Good girl. She's a good girl. She said, Dad, we're not catching a bunch of fish. Usually Dad catches a lot of fish. Huh. Just not today. There's a hit. Nope. Ah, come on. Hit it twice. Come on, get it. Let's try that again because there's one. And even if you get a hook in a fish like this and they hit it and you don't catch them, throw it back in there because you might have, there's usually other fish with that one. And one of those will pick it up. I am very surprised that we are not doing better this morning. We're the only ones on the lake. There's nobody else out. I think it's because of the weekend. Everybody had to go back to work today. Except for you and me, huh, Seth? Cessna, what are you doing? A lot of train traffic through here. The main industry where I live here is mining. There's a lot of phosphate mines here, and they're digging up phosphate out of the ground. A lot of it goes to China, or was going to China. I don't know what they're doing with it now with all the new tariff stuff and that, but there's a lot of railroad traffic with the trains because they're taking the phosphate out. Bayer, that used to be Monsanto, and Bayer bought Monsanto. There's a Monsanto plant here that's now a Bayer plant that they take all that phosphate and smelt it down and refine the phosphate, and then the trains will take the phosphate out of here. And then when the trains come in, they're bringing ammonia, I think it is, in tankers that they use with the mining here. And, you know, a lot of people are totally against mining, but if it wasn't for the mining, this place would be dead. There'd be nobody here because the mines carry, you know, the economy here. But they're pretty good. Idaho is very good about making the mines. Once they get done mining an area, they have to go back in and put it back the way it was, which it usually isn't exactly like it was, obviously, because those pine trees are going to take a while to grow and all that. But the mining, the elk are the thing that I think get hurt the most. And it's not that they're killing anything. It's just the elk. In one mine that they started a couple of years ago, there was a herd of about 600 elk that used to come down the mountain where they started the mine, and that's where they migrated. And because they started mining it, it changed the pattern of the elk migration. So, you know, I hate to see that because it was a really good area to go hunt elk in. And then the state somehow worked out a deal where the mine owned the land or leased it or whatever, so we couldn't hunt it anymore. And you wouldn't want to because there was, you know, a gazillion people. So right now I'm sitting on that rock pile. I'm literally on top of it. Every time I hit the trolling motor, I'm just muddying up the water. But I'm trying to stay on this thing and out of this wind a little bit and fish this from a different direction. Everybody who fish knows that when there's a current, and this wind causes a current, it's not much of a current, but there's a current. The fish will face into the current, waiting for bait, fish, and food to get, swept by them so they can just eat it without having to expend a lot of energy. So when you fish a spot, make sure and fish it from several different directions, because there's been times I've been fishing a rock pile and I'll fish one direction and not get a hit, and then I'll get on the other side of the rock pile and catch 10 fish just because I changed direction or which way I was working that lure back. So right now I'm sitting on this rock pile and throwing away from the rocks instead of throwing to them. And so far it didn't help it. But I hope everybody's having a good day. Check out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share the channel and check out the other people. I can't say that enough. Everybody kind of helps each other out. Nobody on any of these channels that I've been on or that I'm friends with. I wish I lived closer to a lot of you, because I'd take the time to go drink a beer with you or something, because just really nice folks. None of us are, I don't know, subscriber hogs, I guess you'd call it, where they don't want other people subscribing, but everybody's been really good. Very few negative comments. Cessna, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to fall in. Hey, knucklehead. Crazy dog. I know what she's doing. She wants to fall in the water so she can just swim to the shore and go chase pheasants. And again, that's why we have the e-collar, because sometimes I don't like shocking my dog. I really don't. But every now and then, they get so hard-headed, you got to remind them who's boss. And some people think that's mean, but I need a dog that listens, because we are out fishing in boats and running jeeps around, and you got to have a dog that listens to you, because otherwise they'll just get hurt. And I don't even want to say anything about it, but I've been very, very fortunate that I haven't had a dog get hurt real bad. I've never had one get snake bit. I've been real fortunate with my animals, because I think everybody who fishes and hunts, a lot of people think if you hunt, you don't love animals, and I love animals more than anybody. I really do. When I kill a deer, it drops dead. I don't play around with it. So we're going to have to get off this shoreline, because here comes that lady with her dogs. She lives in the house right there. She goes for a walk. Cessna, get in the boat. She goes for a walk every day, and she brings her dogs with her. So she's got 3 dogs with her. And they come down the bank, and this one right here will think, oh, I can just jump in and go with them. No, ma'am. You're going to stay in the boat. So we're going to get out here away from the shoreline, because she's got a Vizsla dog and 2 little, they look like Scottish Terriers. I know you guys can't see them, but they're coming. And Cessna will take that as, oh, I can jump in the water. You stay in this boat, you hear me? Stay in this boat. What I was saying, we love animals, and most of the people who fish and hunt do. And I think that's the reason, Adam and Eve were put on this planet by God to take care of critters. So that's kind of like our main thing. And I think anybody who treats animals unfairly and are mean to them, see, here we go. She's going to start barking. She's going to be like, row, row, row. No, ma'am. That's her chattering. If you guys can hear that. Cessna, no ma'am. No ma'am. Morning! I figured I better get away because that one would want to come play. I told her it's not her lake, but no ma'am. No ma'am. Hey, hush, hush. Not your lake. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. No, no. There's our excitement for the day. Hey, are you saying good morning? Okay. Philly. No, ma'am. I know. But they got every right to be here, too, so quit. Quit. You're going to scare all the fish away, you knucklehead. Anyway. No, ma'am. So, yeah, she'll take the dogs for a walk, and she walks around the field, and then she'll come back by. I figured she'd make a loop, but she came back by the other day, and I was kind of close with the dog, and Cessna was wanting to bail into the water. No, ma'am. Okay, that's enough. You knucklehead, you're scaring the fish. You're scaring the fish. You are. You're scaring the fish. You sure ain't scaring the dogs. You knucklehead. Hang on, we'll whip a Yui here so y'all can see. I'm just letting her get that way because the dogs are running and having a ball, and my dog's upset because she thinks she should be running with them. You fruitcake. Plus, y'all get that view. Y'all get some scenery. At least it's pretty out here. I'll run up here, check the comments again. I'm sorry that I don't answer everybody and say hello. I got to figure out a way, maybe get another phone where I could keep an eye on things. Trying to get my wife to retire because I told her, I said, she loves fishing, and I'm trying to get her to retire where she could just come out here with me and work the camera or the phone and kind of get a little more professional about this, but I don't want to get too carried away. I don't do any editing and stuff. What you see is what you get. I had a TV show back in the day in Florida, and it was really nice because I didn't have to do anything but fish. We had a camera crew that did all the filming, and we had an editing crew that did all of that. JW, good morning, man. Step 1, we're all going to need 50 likes. I'm down with that. And step 2, we all need to sing fish songs. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Yeah, what's that? That other one was the water hog, a heifer. You got a big old water heifer. Hey, love and blessings here. Keep up the amazing work. Healing on your family and health. Thank you very much. Appreciate the prayers. We'll be praying for you too. 2-bit, 2 strokes. Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. He's been waiting for decent weather to get his fishing boat out. I know my buddy in Pittsburgh, I was talking to him, Glenn, the other day, and they've had like the rainiest spring. He was trying to go turkey hunting, and every time he'd get ready to go, they just had rainstorm after rainstorm. So all over the country, it's been kind of a strange spring. It's been that way here. Nancy went to Florida for a week in May, and normally in May, we're just kicking ass on this lake. And it rained the entire week she was gone. From the time she left the house, it started raining, and it rained here all week long. And it doesn't usually do that. We get snow, but we don't get rain like that. But the funny thing was, I was giving her static because she's in Florida. It was 90 degrees. I'm up here in Idaho. It's raining. It's cold, and I told her, I said, ever since you left, it's been raining. And she's like, yeah, because ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And she thought that was funny. I told her it would be funny if it quit raining. And I shit you not, she got home the day that when she landed in Salt Lake and got in the car to drive back home, the sun came out. So, yeah, I haven't heard the end of that. But I'm like, well, you're home now. We need decent weather. Yeah, so for you guys that haven't been able to get out yet, I hope you get some weather to go out because that's the other thing I miss about being in Florida is we get cold fronts, but they only last about 3 days and then it warms up again. So the weather might be bad in the afternoons with thunderstorms and stuff, but um, you have summer all year long, kind of. Here, no, ma'am. I'll tell you what. The sad thing about June 20th, the longest day of the year out here, is the days are getting shorter already. It's July, but I've been snowed on here July 4th before. So we get snow in the Rocky Mountains any time of the year, which, that's part of the reason there's not a lot of people that want to live here. When California was having that mass exodus after COVID, we had one of the worst winters that we'd had in a long time. And a lot of people that moved here, especially up here in the mountains here where I'm at, they left. The winter was bad. I mean, we had a lot of snow and it was just crazy winter. And a lot of the people were selling their houses that had just moved here because they're like, yeah, we're not doing this. So we kind of laugh about the snow in Idaho keeps the riffraff out because I'm old. I'd love to live in Florida where it's warm all the time and I don't have to shovel snow. But I'd have to deal with 80 boats on my fishing holes. We're here. We got the whole place to ourselves, guys. So like and subscribe if you like the fact that we're all by ourselves on this lake. We've got 3 dogs and a gal walking her dog. But other than that, we have nobody out here. And I think the fish know it because they sure aren't cooperating. I think you're right, JW. Here, fishy, fishy. So I got off that rock pole. I'm going to go ahead and fish down this bank because there's rocks along here. They're just kind of sporadic till we get to that other tree down there. And then there's a rocky point, and we'll probably catch a fish off of that. The problem with that is that it gets hit hard by bank fishermen. A lot of people come down there and fish off the bank there. So I'm sure it got hit hard this weekend. But that's where Cole lost that 7-pounder the other day. Maybe we'll be able to get one off of there. There's some rocks there in front of us. Let's get a little closer. See if we could pull one off that bank. Smallmouth fishing, you need some kind of cover. They like current, where a largemouth will go sit in the, real still, full of grass, no movement to the water, and a largemouth like that. Smallmouth don't like that. They want structure and they want current. And for those of you who just joined me, I'm using a live pointer stick bait in a ghost minnow pattern. I've got a 7-foot Royal Select Cast King rod. It's a medium heavy action with a fast action tip, with 30-pound braid. And my reel is a Cast King. I think it's called a Royal Select too. Mega Jaws. A Mega Jaw reel with 30-pound braid on it. And it's an 8.5 or 8.1 to 1 retrieve. So it's kind of a fast reel. I don't use slow reels. A lot of people do. The 5.3 to 1s, the 5.1 to 1s. I've heard people say, well, if you use a slower reel, that it's got more power, but I'm using braid. I can usually turn a fish if I need to. And I like the fast retrieve because I can get it out there, work it through the strike zone, which is against these rocks. And then when I get it, away from that, where I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get a hit, I can reel it in. See how fast I can reel that thing in. and I could get it back out there. And this is the reason I don't fish a lot of plastics anymore. I'll fish a horny toad sometimes on top in a white color, because the white uh, back east, anything white is kind of resembling a shad. And even though there's no shad out here, that white bait fish look, they'll hit that horny toad. And I can fish it like a frog. I can stop it, it'll sink, you know. So we ought to be able to catch a fish off of this pile. When I crawdad this lake and I put traps out, I usually do real well down here. So we ought to, this is where I think a crawdad pattern would probably work a little better. But I don't change baits a lot either. A lot of people ask me, how come you don't change baits? If they're not hitting this thing, they're not hitting. Like today, it's just a slow morning. So I could go and change a bunch of baits, but it's just when they start hitting this, then I can pretty much throw anything and they're going to hit that too. And I need to do a thing at the house where I just show you guys what I fish with. Because on saltwater, throwing a spinning rod or a bait caster, there's 3 baits that I use. A topwater one and 2, a Cody jig, and I throw a fly in topwater called the Snook King that I designed back in the 90s, and that's what I caught my 2 world record snook on. And it's also a really good, there's one. Oh no, he missed it. I figured there'd be one on this rock pile. Come on, Cessna. Hold your mouth right, Cessna. Sing the song, Cessna. Sing the song of your people so we can catch a fish. But so yeah, I don't fish a lot of different stuff. I've got a gazillion different baits, and I've tried a lot of them. And then freshwater in Florida, I'm throwing a frog, or I'm throwing a swim bait that is really more. I use it more like a topwater bait, and reel it across the surface, and then I can drop it if I need to. And the bait that I really like was designed by a friend of mine, and it's really funny looking color when you look at it when it's not in the water. But in the water, it looks just like a golden shiner. Like he nailed the colors on that. And Gambler actually started making that bait that he designed in that color. And I haven't used it out here. I'm sure it'd do fine, even though we don't have golden shiners. It just looks like a bait fish. But again, I just don't change baits a lot. I fish the same thing. So Cessna assessing the situation back there because she really wants to go chase pheasants. But yeah, I'm just throwing it along the bank here. There's sporadic rocks here, and in front of us, you guys can see where it's like a little cove there. There's a lot of rocks in there, and it always holds a few fish. But there's rocks all the way out from the bank here. They're just, rock here, rock there. If you could get the bait over one, usually you could pull a fish off of it. I had my left shoulder, I had a rotator cuff surgery on it and had it all replaced this year in January. And the other day, my shoulder's been killing me. And I'm like, I don't know why my shoulder hurts so bad. It's fishing. I mean, Jory's Game Bites. Hey, love and blessings back to you, man. We'll keep praying for you. I hope you guys are having a good day. Let me scroll down here where I can see JW. I appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, please leave a like. I really appreciate it. Thanks, JW. It is a pretty view. Leave a like. The fishers told me they want to see 50 likes before they start eating. Man, come on. You guys like. I need to catch some fish. So I tell you what, I'm going to throw at that rock right there. Because there's a rock right there. And I know there's a fish on it. So this is going to get us started. We're going to catch a fish here. And JW's right. Let's hit 50 likes. Because on my live streams, a lot of people drop in. And there's a lot of you that stay around. But I get it. It can get boring watching somebody fish that's not catching anything. And that's a nice thing about having a TV show. When somebody's doing a bunch of editing for you, People don't realize that a half-hour TV show sometimes would take us 3 days to get enough content. No, ma'am. We got to get away from the bank again or my dog's going to bail. She listens pretty well, but she also thinks she owns everything. Stay. Get your butt in this boat. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not your lake. Not your lake. We're going to make a big loop here so we can get away from the shore so my dog doesn't go bailing. And the lady who's going for a walk will go back in the house and my dog will settle down again. But anyway, it's a beautiful morning. It's kind of chilly. I should have worn jeans. It's my poor little old man legs. How y'all like these shoes? My wife got me some Hey Dudes because I'm old and I can't get down and tie my shoes anymore. I have to get my wife to tie my tennis shoes when I put them on. Getting old sucks ass. It really does. Yeah, she warmed up because she took her jacket off. Cessna? No, ma'am. So anyway, I could cast out in here, but it's deep. It's we're in about 40 foot of water right here, and I don't have the right bait for that. Not to say you wouldn't catch anything, but you really need to be throwing at structure. So we just made a big circle because now she's going back up the hill. You stay in this boat, Cessna. But yeah, we're fishing out of my Go Devil. It's an 18 foot long, 60 inches wide. It's a mud motor boat. I've got a 40 horsepower Go Devil surface drive on it. And these boats aren't made to go fast. They're just made to go through stuff. I can run this thing through mud. You can run it through grass. You can run it through just about anything. And this boat up at this altitude will run about 24 miles an hour is all. In Florida, it'll run 31 miles an hour. So it's not like my bass boat. I mean, it'd do 100 miles an hour, 92 miles an hour, I think it'd do. But we have a Go Devil because I run a lot of really shallow water in the Snake River to get to my hunting camp and to get to the fishing we do on the Snake. You either need a jet boat or you need one of these. And the jet boats go a lot faster, but they're big, giant, heavy boats. And I don't need a big, giant, heavy boat because when I get stuck on something, it's hard enough for me to get this thing off of it. I couldn't imagine trying to get a big old jet boat off of a gravel bar. So, you gonna be a good girl? Huh? That nose is just a going, isn't it? Y'all can't see it, but her nose, she's just working it because, like I said, there's a lot of pheasants around here. And that dog will get on a pheasant that's running and put her head down. And last year when we were pheasant hunting in Minnesota, and Cessna put her head down, and she was going just 100 miles an hour in all kinds of directions. And I'd never seen her do that. And I told Gary, I said, I think my dog's broke. She's just running around. He said, no, she's on a pheasant. And I'm like, yeah, but we've hunt pheasants in cornrows and stuff where it's just a straight line. And she said he told me those old roosters, and I didn't know this. I knew that roosters ran, and I know that a pheasant is like a turkey. They'd rather run than fly. Because, they fly, they usually get shot. But they'll just run. And he said those old roosters, they don't just run in a straight line. They'll run in a big crazy pattern to try and lose the dogs. And so Cessna was just going nuts following this rooster. And he told me she's following a big old rooster. And sure as shit, man, she found that rooster and jumped it. And Gary ended up missing it when he shot at it. But that's what she wants to do. She wants to get out there and chase pheasants. So anyway, on this point right here, we usually do catch a few fish. And when I first moved here and started fishing this lake, I wasn't bringing my boat out here. I was just coming down and fishing the lake off the bank. I caught some nice fish right here off the bank, but one other thing that people do, and this is kind of a tip, if you ever notice that people who fish on the bank are casting away from the bank as far as they can cast, and when you get in a boat, you're throwing to the bank. If you're bank fishing a lot, instead of throwing it out, throw it down the bank. Because what happens is those fish, the predator fish, will fish. The reason you catch fish along the bank is the bait that they're chasing, especially bait fish. Well, they can't get up on the land, so those big predator fish can pin the bait up against the shoreline. And that's why if you're bait fishing or if you're bank fishing, you're better off casting parallel to the bank than you are throwing it out deep. Because those of you who bank fish, you probably noticed that you'll get a hit right as you get it back to the boat. You get it back to the bank. It's because those predator fish stay along here trying to pin these bait fish and stuff against the shoreline. Um, anyway, bunch of swallows. Cessna is trying to find those dogs. She's like, okay, I know there's something going on here. Yeah, slow morning today, guys. Sorry about that. Every now and then we just have to have one of these days. I need to check my battery on my phone because the other day it just went dead. And yeah, it's getting kind of low. Let me see here. Yeah, it's about dead, guys. I got like 5% left. Emmanuel, yep, yep, that's exactly right. Boat comes to cast right up against it when he's bank fishing. That's exactly right. Um, John Joe, thanks for hanging out with me today. DD, hi, how you doing, man? Nice to meet you. We got like 5% on our battery. We got 31 likes. That's great morning. 64 people watching. If everybody who's watching right now would subscribe, I would hit 500 subscribers today. So, John Joe, anytime I subbed and like, I appreciate it, man. I'll get back and sub with you guys too. So I really do appreciate it. I hate to have to cut this short because let me catch a fish off this thing right here real quick. But if the battery goes dead, which it's about to. Thanks for joining me this morning. I think my sister's doing something else. Check out everybody else's channel. Most of the guys on here, like JW and them, have a channel. Go subscribe to them, man. They're good folks on here. And then, come join us again. I'll probably, when I get home tonight, maybe what I'll do is I'll go live this afternoon for a few minutes. If you guys like and subscribe, I'll go through my box and show you guys what I'm using out here. Kirstery, that's a cool name. Thanks for joining us. Saul, it is a beautiful lake. Thanks, man. We love this place. Mason the Fisher, hello, how are you today? I wish I had more battery, guys. I'm at 3%. So I'm going to lose you all here in a second. I'm just going to shut up. Now I'm at 2%. Once it goes quick. So the battery's about to go dead. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Prayers that everybody has a great week. Enjoy the summer, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning. 49 people. I appreciate you guys. I really do. It's been fun kind of watching this grow and meeting all the people that are on here because there's some good people on here. So please go check out everybody else's channel. Now we're up to 55 people. It figures. My battery's about to go dead. But as you can see, we have a beautiful lake to fish on. There's a park right here that's next to the dam that people come up and picnic at and stuff. And it's just a really cool lake. But yeah, thanks for joining me this morning. I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, share the channel. If you don't like what you see, man, come join me tonight. Yeah, you're exactly right, JW. As soon as the battery goes dead, we'll start catching fish. I don't know what somebody just said hello, and it looks like it's in Japanese. So welcome. We're in Idaho, in the United States, and we're about to have to quit because we're at 1%. So I'm going to get up there and try and catch a fish. This thing's going to go dead again. Thanks for joining me. Cessna says she appreciates it. She's just worried about trying to get out of the boat and go catch pheasants. Anyway, like and subscribe, guys. Please do that. We got 56 people watching. Again, if everybody subbed real quick, I'd hit 500 subscribers, and boy, I'd be happy about that. I'm trying to get to 1,000 and get monetized so I can use that money to take kids, and I take a lot of people fishing that have never been before and teach them how to fish. It's one of the few things I do right. I'll close on that note. My granddad told me a long time ago, he was telling somebody there's only 3 things that kid does right, and they all begin with F: fishing, flying, and the other thing. And I was like, how do you know about the other thing? And he said, because you have a pretty wife and you make pretty babies, you got to be doing something right. But yeah, please come join me later this afternoon. I'll go live this afternoon after I charge my battery up, and I'll go through my box and show you guys at the house what I've been fishing with and some of the stuff I use. It may work for you, it may not, but most of the stuff. Oh, Korean, wow, that's cool. Are you in Korea? God, I wish I had more battery. I love meeting people like this because it's just cool to talk to other people. I've traveled all over the world, and people are just cool for the most part, man. There's good people out there. It's unfortunate that the media has to concentrate on all the bad stuff. But prayers to everybody. God bless you. Be safe. I'm gonna turn this boat around before I hit the dam up here. I got 33 likes. That's awesome. I wish I could get to 50, but go and subscribe. That would make my day. It really would. JW, thanks for the help today. Holy mackerel. I'm sure he took off and went fishing. Thanks for helping me out this morning, you guys. I appreciate you. And again, phone is about to go. There's a dam just went by. We don't want to get against it because they're dumping water. That's one reason we're drifting so quick. But again, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Phone's about to go, I think. So we'll see you guys later. Y'all have a wonderful day. Come join me tonight, and I'll show you what I've been fishing with. Thanks again, guys. And Cessna says, thanks for hanging out with her. Cessna the boat dog. Used to be Cessna the wonder dog because she was a pilot, man. That dog, my dogs are very well traveled. Like and subscribe. With everybody watching, man, if I could get to 500 a day, that would be awesome. JW, thanks again, brother. I really do appreciate you. You're awesome. Very nice people. I wish we lived closer. I'd buy you a beer. And if I couldn't buy you a beer, I'd buy you a steak. And if I couldn't buy you a steak, I'd take you fishing. Beautiful morning. Just not many fish today. There's a boat ramp right here. I don't know if you guys are still on, but there's a boat ramp. If you go by a boat ramp, always throw to the boat ramp because a lot of times there's fish that hang on that concrete because it warms up. And the other thing is a lot of people, when they come in from fishing, especially in a tournament, they release the fish right at the boat ramp. And so a lot of times you can catch fish off a boat ramp. They always hold fish on the boat ramp. They're just not holding fish today. Huh, Seth? She said, there's a fish there, Dad. They're just not eating this morning. Come on, fishy, fishy. I know you're there. Come on.